I got to this part in my life, I had lost everything that was there to me, you know. I no longer knew where to go, where to belong, because my immediate family was killed in the war. So my mother, father, and 2 brothers, I was the second born in a family of 3, were all killed in the war. Now, this happened to so many other people in Sierra Leone, so I wasn't the only person who had had such thing happen to me. And I was actually running with a few kids who had had similar experience. And we didn't know where to belong. We didn't know where to go. There was nobody to claim our lives. There was no reason to really live for anything. So, and we were absolutely angry because of what had happened. If you can imagine having an entire family, and then the next minute, all of them being killed, not having. And the only reason why you survived, by pure luck, you weren't there. And 2 seconds later, or 2 minutes later, you would have been killed, you know. So we ended up actually, at this point, we didn't know the dynamics of the war strongly at this point. So we ended up going to the military base, thinking to ourselves, what better place to go for safety than to the military, you know. That sounded like a plausible thing to us, so we went to the military base. And in the beginning, it looked nice. We walked in the kitchen to help them cook, and through this, we had a place to sleep, we had some food, you know, and some shelter. These were things that were very scarce in the war that you couldn't get access to at all, you know. And some semblance of safety as well. And then after a while, we were forced into the fighting. There was no choice. It was either you joined or you were killed, you know. And the choice was you could leave, but you can't leave, because people who tried to leave were killed. It wasn't clear whether the military had killed them or they blamed it on the rebels who were surrounding the area. And also, once you've lived amongst the military, if you leave, the rebels who may have seen you in that camp would think you're a spy. They would shoot you without asking you. And vice versa. Kids who were captured by the RUF, sometimes they branded them RUF with a hot bayonet, put it in a fire, and they would write it on their skin. If that kid tries to escape, civilians would kill that kid. Later on, when we had the ECOMOG, West African Peacekeeping, they would shoot at that kid. And of course, you know, the military would kill it. So you had nowhere to go. You couldn't explain to anyone, I've been caught in this madness. There was no time for that explanation. So in a way, you're compromising one way. And there was, besides the coercion, there was also a rhetoric that was very powerful, which was a rhetoric of revenge. And at this point, we had all was so upset at what had happened to our families that it made sense that we'll go after people actually who would be responsible for killing our families and kill them. And in a way, that was, and we believed that this will actually do something. But actually, what we learned is that as time went on, that didn't do anything at all. If anything, in retrospect, we created more violence, because we heard other people who had nothing to do with our situation, but then they became susceptible to that same rhetoric, whether it was through the rebel group or through the army. So actually, I was in this place, and we didn't think we could be trained at all. I was 13 years old at this point. When I lost my family, I was 12 years old, and I was 13 at this point. So I was I'm not a particularly tall fellow, and at that point I was even shorter, and you know, very small, you know. So I didn't think that I could be a candidate for fighting at all, or I could be even capable of it. But I was trained in the middle. There are kids who were much younger than I was, so we were trained in this. You know, hate was fed in us, and then of course we were exposed to extreme violence constantly to show us what we had to do. And of course we were also given a lot of drugs. And as time went on, actually the dynamics changed, where these commanders who were now in charge of us replaced the community we had lost. The army replaced the community we had lost. The commanders became the elder brothers and the father figures. The structure we had lost was now found in this, what people may call madness. So in a way, we actually developed a strong relationship with the commanders. And this became the new family. But with this new family, in order to function, this new family required violence. Because it's only through violence that you found food, ammunition, and actually stayed alive. So there was no other way. So my life went from just this kid who loved Shakespeare and everything to now functioning in this violence.